Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinker and Medarot, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now, as we crest into week 3 of the Martian Successor Nadesico collaboration, the momentum and the festivities are most certainly not slowing down by any means. While what we may be getting this week may not seem as, fortuitous, I guess I can call it, for lack of a better term, as compared to previous weeks with a lot of event rewards or gacha tickets and such. This week we're only getting the introduction of one model, much like we did last week. But I think you guys will be pleased to know that it is not a meta change type model, so I think the gacha banners might be just a little more forgiving this time around as we crest into the next week and go into the tail end of August. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week, starting of course with who we're going to be seeing highlighting for the collab this week. That model specifically is KSN03 Pt.3, who is based off Black Selena in the Nadesico series, with a mostly new kit of Hard Hammer, Shotgun, Sanction, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Purge. Now, Purge and Hard Hammer are two brand new skills being introduced in the game as well with this collaboration. Hard Hammer is, and it looks like we're going to be seeing a pretty solid trend of a lot of AoE type of attacks, or all type of attacks as they're called, or hull types, with a lot more bang for their buck this time around. And the FESTIVITIES that we got the first week was most certainly no exception to that either, but Hard Hammer in particular hits just a little bit harder than expected. Essentially what it does is that it is a basic hammer skill, but it also has defense ignore, and converts the user's resist stats, their melee and shoot resist cumulatively, into additional bonus damage when attacking. So it's going to be a really powerful headbutt in particular compared to other ones that have hammers. Emit Hammer, for instance, on the FESTIVITIES, or even Pile or Railgun or anything else of the like. This one's most certainly going to hit a whole lot harder than most under the right circumstances. And the other new skill, the leg ability of Purge, is more or less just kind of a stats plus version of Shuda. So now Shuda, instead of getting a damage plus when parts are broken, so really good for sacrifice types that like to be careless or reckless, Purge, on the other hand, benefits you for stripping the armor down. So every time that a part is broken, all of your legs minus your armor and heavy limit get a stat boost, which will tie right back into, of course, Hard Hammer, which means you'll be hitting a whole lot harder once you're shed free of both the arms. Now, like I said, as a friendly reminder, Pt.3 is not a meta change model this time around, so thankfully if you are trying to skip for someone that's going to be a little easier on the rubies, this might be a good week for you with a pretty solid and chunky model all around. Now, with the two models getting boosted rates alongside Pt.3 this time around, this time we're going to be seeing GBR0 Yatakro with full charge, double charge buster, flight legs, and Shuda, but also is capable of transforming into a true air flight type form. With this kit exchanged for Desperate, Flash, Charge Blades, maintaining the flight legs but exchanging the leg ability for auto charge. So going to be a very solid all-around flight type of nuker as well, if that's what you're looking for. Additionally, we also have NRR0 Hell Magnate with Giga Gatling, Cross Shock, Meteor, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Adversity. Now, this week, the only meta change model that we have being highlighted is Yatakro's, which is also part of the standard pool. Well, standard pickup, I should clarify. So, it's not going to be as necessarily a huge pull if you have him or not, and of course, Pt.3 is going to be the really big push for this week as what you're aiming for. But even if you do end up missing him and end up snagging Yatakro or even Hell Magnate instead, Hell Magnate in particular is going to be really good too for very solid all-around multi-pedal legs, and basically a conventional access to Cross Shock if you've not already added it to your library. And that is still a very solid attack as well, even if it does still hit with the no dodge, no defend penalty cooldown. Now for the fierce battles we have this week, it's going to be a lot of utility-based farming, so not a lot of high base power, high versatility, or one that can fit in any situation. It's going to be just a little bit of everything and everywhere. Starting us off on this top row here is MOL0 Horny Devil with Fire Shot, Double Missile, Wheeled Legs, and Desert type. We have GTD-01 Daichenko with Melee Guard, Missile, Gatling, Tank Legs, and Heavy Arms. And then we have HWK0 Fly Falcon with triple napalm, flight legs, and assail. On this bottom row, we're starting us off with SPW0 Spry Tooth with hold, hammer, sword, biped legs, and spearhead. We have SPN0 Float Spinner with melee trap, anti-air and anti-sea, float legs, and emergency. And RBT-05M Chrono Rabbit with beam, guard boost, shoot trap, wield legs, and auto charge. Now, like I said, it's going to be a lot of utility this week more than anything else in my personal opinion, so it honestly was kind of difficult trying to find an MVP of the week because all of them have at least one part that's really useful in some form or another. Ultimately, Horny Devil does end up winning of this batch of 6 though, because wield legs with desert type does give it an extra edge that a lot of other models may not have, especially given that wield legs, while fast, are also incredibly terrible on terrain matching -2, which of course also includes wield legs on Cyber. So that alone already makes it really solid. But everyone else as well, Daichenko for tank legs with heavy arms, Fly Falcon for flight legs with a sail, if you do choose to use him or like him, Spry Tooth for all-round combat or conventional melee combat for females, Float Spinner for your anti-air and sea coverage, and Chrono Rabbit also for wield legs with auto charge. So, little bit of diversity, like I said, hard to really pick an ultimate best of the batch this time around, so ultimately just try to farm all 6 just for the sake that you have them, much like you do in previous weeks, and then just kind of raise them at your own discretion based on what you see the need for in your particular situation. Now, for Wave 3 of the collaboration, it's not going to be as majorly exciting, I'm just going to call it for lack of a better term, because the only real rewards we're getting is all stuff that we've seen and had previous attempts at thus far. We have access to 3 separate types of gacha tickets again, much like we did in the previous 2 weeks, as well as an additional profile banner featuring Black Selena itself. But we also have the opportunity to earn the Esper medal once again from the Scientific Railgun collaboration. This medal in particular, being a sniper nature, has a master in melee, shooting, and support, and leg masteries in biped, floating, and flying. So it's a very solid and all-around medal that you can use for your conventional fighters, especially if they are Metaforce reliant in any form or capacity. Laser, Hyper Beam, Ghost, Beam Sword, or anything else of the like, this is going to be a very solid medal that you can make use of. And additionally to this, it is also worth noting that the Esper medal is really good for its Metaforce number 2, which is an AoE slap to every enemy on the field and then slap them with a Thunder Paralyze. So good for buying you a couple extra seconds of time if you need a minute to breathe and recoup your strategy. This event in particular will be boss fight, so it's going to be mostly milestone based or score attack as it's also called, much like it was with the first week, but it also has the opportunity to spawn boss fight encounters. These boss fight encounters will progressively get harder in difficulty the more of them that you complete, and the possibility of spawning one is completely random, but for every completion that does not spawn one, you have the opportunity to make it a much higher likelihood that you do get one. Additionally, boss encounters can also be stacked, so you can complete the event, get all the points, and go and complete all the boss encounters all at once before you have to go back and farm some more. That being said, for point bonuses, of course, Adonis Singh and Geki Gengai 3 will give you a 15% bonus per part for your standard bonuses. Hell Magnate, Yacha Crow, Swimmer Mate, and Marine Killer at a 9% bonus each, and the Fierce Battles at a 6% bonus each. For the Metarotters, it is a 10% bonus for the SR versions of Hotori or Hikaru, and a 5% bonus for either of those and Kirara for the R rank bonus at 5%, and a 3% for the N rank respectively. For the gold rank bonuses, which are focusing mostly for your boss fights, and these bonuses will focus specifically on those, will of course be Fertilla Cry and Nadesico Hoshino, at a 15% bonus for Fertilla Cry and a 9% bonus for Hoshino. For the Metarotter bonuses, of course, it is a 20% regardless of whichever one that you equip on the team. Now, it's also worth noting that Fertilla Cry and Hoshino will also get a all-stat boost relative to if you are combating in a boss fight. So do keep that in mind if you do have access to those in your parts at your discretion when completing for parts. One thing to bear in mind with boss fight events is that you don't necessarily need to have all the bonuses in the team, primarily because boss fight and regular dungeon don't actually have the same bonuses. So it's going to be good to have 2 teams this time around. One with, say, Adonis Singh and Geki Gengai 3, or even just a mix of them, and then another that specializes for your boss encounters. One other thing to mention when it comes to game-related stuff, as was announced, we do have another Super Invasion, a limited-time Super Invasion and event missions that will be going live as well. This limited-time Super Invasion will feature Nadesico Hoshino and Fertilla Cry as well, so do make sure that you accomplish and defeat that as well, so that you can complete it and take home another profile banner and extra limited-time rewards that allow you to showcase your participation in the event. The event missions, it's basically the same thing as it has been the previous several weeks. Basically just farm the event a certain number of times for free ruby shards, gacha tickets, and more, so that you can keep filling in on those emergency reserves. For community stuff, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any current projects or endeavors. With Medarot 3 now officially completed 100%, there's now a whole lot more effort going toward Medarot 4. So if you are knowledgeable in coding, cleaning Japanese, or have some time on your hands, or if you know somebody that meets any of these requirements, we are always looking for translators to assist us with these endeavors so we can see them completed, and we too can enjoy the continuing story of Ikki and the gang. Since originally we only got the original Medarot 2, or at least the 2 core version of it, which is a somewhat censored, cut down version of it. But now with Medarot 3, we can continue that story and learn just more of what happened after the events of 2, leading on into 4. So again, if you would like to help with that, or know somebody that wants to help, send them to our Discord in the link provided below, ask around, we'll get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what has been done, and what still needs done up to this point. For the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I had to highlight this piece here by a friend of mine, Pikugatu, who does a lot of really nice sketch-type, Rakugaki-type art, as it's called, and this time around decided to focus on the Fujioka Kenki-style version of Rollstar. Just for those that are unaware, there are a handful of models that showcase in the Medarot Rintaro manga and Medarot Navi that were essentially, for lack of a better term, redesigned by Mr. Kenki himself. With a much sleeker or more blocky type of appearance to kind of fit the art style. And that is and Rollstar is most certainly no exception to that, with a much faster version and much more aesthetically pleasing, in my personal opinion anyway, aesthetic of the original crayfish. And this one here by Twitter user Yohei Taco decided to kind of sketch his laments on the inability to collect Hoshino during the week that they went live. So unfortunately, this last week was kind of brutal because it was triple meta change only for all boosted rates, and a lot of people were kind of lamenting over that. But Hoshino Wanters will be Hoshino Havers hopefully by the end of the collaboration. Don't give up and keep trying. And wonderful art as well for what they were able to complete here, with a very nice little caricature of Hoshino being chased by both the pirate types of Kaizo Koro and Kaizo Koro Bay. One final note to wrap us up before I do officially end us here on this relatively lighter episode as well. As a friendly reminder, I am always open for commissions, so if you are looking for any kind of art to be done, whether that be a live 2D model ready to rig, I unfortunately did not pick up that part of the knowledge, unfortunately. If you want a 3D model, fully rigged, textured, optimized, and ready to go for drag and drop, I am most certainly your guy. I also do standard art and emotes at varying degrees of complexity and for bundles as well. So feel free to reach out to me on Discord or on Twitter if you'd like to possibly see more of that or inquire, and we can most certainly try to make something happen. But with that being said, I believe that covers basically everything for this week's episode. The only other note I want to say is just kind of touching base again on the completion of my run of Dark Cloud 2 back on Sunday, completing Chapter 7 and defeating the Dark Element. Of course, that is most certainly not the end of the story. There is still another chapter ready to go, but I have heard you guys asking me time and again to do another art stream, so that is what essentially the plan will be. Tune in with me on this coming Sunday, which is, if I check my calendar here, the 25th. I will be hosting another Ori Meta design stream, so make sure you tune in with me on that. We can most certainly try to make something happen with another brand new design never before seen from the ground up. That being said, if you'd like to know more on the community as a whole, you can also join us on Facebook at the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This also includes our Discord, which we always put all the news out first. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, my weekly episodes, or anything else of note from the Imagineer itself in regards to our favorite fighting robots. The Discord is the first place you're going to hear it before it goes anywhere else on the net. After that, it will be possible to join on the Facebook as well to also keep in touch with the meta news. You can also Follow me on Twitter at @ItsuGamiKura if you have any questions or feedback or comments, or would love just to stop in and say hello. Additionally, if you are a content creator, VTuber, streamer of any kind, capacity, or platform and would love to reach out to me and make something happen, I always leave my DMs open on purpose for that very reason. So feel free to reach out to me as well, and we can most certainly try to make something happen and coordinate some schedules. Lastly, do give these wonderful friends of mine a follow as well in the Medarot community, Taiyo1, who is very well known for their work in the one-to-one, not quite one-to-one, but bringing a robotic Beastmaster to life at scale that they've been working on for the past several months, or even past couple of years now, honestly. And every time I see a development, it's always nice to see updates from Taiyo about that, and just his work of hoping to see a one-to-one size Beastmaster brought to life. And another dear friend of mine, Kurojiri, who's also well known for doing a lot of musical covers. In particular, very well known for their non-stop Row Battle medley, of which I actually use a piece of it as my outro music. So definitely give them a follow as well as to touch base with them and support our loving members of the Medarot community. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kurojiri of the Medarot News Network, signing out.